Hello friends, welcome back to VOWIAS. Welcome to the discussion of the Prelims test series, and this is part 1 of the discussion. So here we are going to discuss the first set of questions. So as you all know, we provide summaries for the test series of Vision, and this document is that summary only. In this summary, we don't reduce any content, rather we summarize it in such a way that the whole content will be there in just few pages and you will be able to revise it multiple times. That is the main intention. Okay, now let's quickly begin with the discussion. The first question is about the methane hydrate. Methane hydrate is the first question. So this methane hydrate, if you see, this is nothing but a cage-like lattice inside the ice. So cage-like lattice of ice inside the trapped molecule of methane, that is called as the methane hydrate. So in simple words, it is nothing but methane trapping inside the ice. Methane trapping inside the ice. So I'll just show you that with the diagram. Yeah, so this is the diagram. So you can see, so inside the water molecule, the methane gas gets trapped like this. So here you can see, this is how it is. And on your left hand side, you can see this is the methane hydrate. So it's like a ice form. It's like a form of ice where you will be able to see, or you can say you will be able to extract the gas from this ice. The methane can be extracted. So this is called as methane hydrate. This methane hydrate, if you see, it is found in sedimentary and sedimentary rocks units which are below the Arctic permafrost. They are found in the sedimentary deposit along the continental margins. They are found in deep water sediments of in the inland lakes and seas and under the Antarctic ice. It is also found in onshore deposits in the permafrost of the North Canada and Russia. Because about 1 lakh of solid hydrates is released by 1 liter of solid hydrate is releases approximately 165 liter of gas. Besides US and Japan, India also signed this agreement with Canada to develop the technology for this methane hydrate. So this methane hydrate, in simple words, methane plus water, that is the thing. So you can see here it is showing, so the methane hydrate deposits will be there on the seafloor. They will be extracted using the drilling rigs and all. Right. Next, the second question is on the industrial regions. So we have major and minor industrial regions. So what is this major and minor industrial regions? Generally, the major industrial regions are those regions where the working population, that means the population which are working in the industries, will be about 1 to 5 lakhs. Whereas in the minor regions, the working population in industry will be approximately 25,000. So this is the major difference. So when more number of people are employed in the industries, and that can be termed as a major industrial region, and that is a major industrial region, right? So next, third question. Here these are the major regions. See, there are various major regions and minor regions. We cannot remember all of them, but try to remember the things which are close to you, close to your state. Okay, you might know few areas. For example, see, Mumbai-Pune region. Most of us can remember it very easily because of the high industrial activity. The Hooghly region, where it is in Karnataka. So try to associate something with that, then you will be able to remember. Next, the Bangalore, Tamil Nadu. The Gujarat region we can identify easily. Chota Nagpur region. So in Chota Nagpur we have all these minerals and all. So they are like that, we can easily remember this. Next, Visakhapatnam, Guntur. Guntur is basically very famous for the Mirchi and other industries. And also Visakhapatnam is an industrial area. We have the port and all. So like that also you can remember. Gurgaon, Delhi, Meerut. The Kollam, Trivandrum. So this is the major industrial region. If you see the minor regions, the Ambala, Amritsar, the Sharanpur, Muzaffarnagar, the Indore, Devas, Ujjain, right, the North Malabar, the Adilabad, Nizamabad, the Durg, Raipur, the Bilaspur, all these things are minor industrial regions, right? So next, the third question is on the economic activities. So as we all know, there are various economic activities. The primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary, quinary, various activities are there. So primary activities means basically those activities which depend on the earth directly, which depend on the resources of the earth. For example, take agriculture, take fishing, forestry. They all are part of this primary sector. Secondary activities, if you see, the secondary activities involves the industrial sector. It involves the manufacturing sector. So by the process of manufacturing, they convert this primary sector or you can say the goods of this primary sector into the usable goods. For example, all the manufacturing industries and all. The primary activity is a red collar job whereas the secondary activity is a blue collar job. It's a blue collar job. Next, the queenery. Queenery means, if you see in brief, it is nothing but the top level management of any industry, that is called as queenery. Okay. Next, these employees are also called as gold collar because they are the top management and they are called as gold collar. Next, you have the quaternary. What is quaternary? Quaternary, in simple words, it is nothing but the R&D, the advanced form of skills, that is called as quaternary. Next, the fourth question. This fourth question is on the major tribes of the equatorial region. Major tribes. If you see, the Indian tribes of Amazon basin, the Pygmies of the Congo basin, the Orangs of Malaysia, Orang Asli of Malaysia, the Bedouins of the nomadic of the Arab region, basically, they are the major equatorial tribes. The equatorial region is that region which is heavily populated by these animals and plants. The human population generally will be less compared to that of the other or higher latitudes. The equatorial region is sparsely populated. Hunting and gathering is very common in these areas because they are mostly forest areas. Equatorial region, there will be heavy rainfall, there will be heavy temperatures. So that is the equatorial region. Next, the fifth question. The fifth question, if you see, it is basically on the coal. So coal, it is a black sedimentary rock with high carbon and hydrocarbons. It is classified as non-renewable source of energy, and there are various types of coal: the anthracite, bituminous, lignite, and peat. Anthracite is the highest quality of coal. Highest quality of coal. Bituminous, the next highest quality. After that, lignite, and after that, peat. So anthracite is the highest quality of coal. This anthracite contains about 90 to 95% of carbon. So that's why it has high calorific value. That means it can produce more heat on burning. It has fewer impurities. It is used in the power generation and also in metallurgy. It accounts for 1% of the global coal reserves, and China has maximum production, whereas other producers are Russia, Ukraine, North Korea, Vietnam, and so on. Next is bituminous. Bituminous is a relatively soft coal. It's a tar-like substance, and the higher quality, it is of higher quality than lignite, but poorer than anthracite. The carbon content is about 60 to 80%, and the rest is composed of water, air, hydrogen, and sulfur. That is the thing about bituminous. Next is lignite. Lignite, if you see, it is a soft brown coal. It is formed naturally from the peat. It is the lowest rank of coal due to the less heat content. The carbon content is 25 to 35%, and the moisture content is high. It is about 66%, and ash is about 6 to 19%. This is about lignite. Now let's move on to the next question. Next question is on wheat. The next question is on wheat. And wheat, if you see, it is the second most important cereal crop in India after rice. The rice and wheat, they form the staple food for the Indians. It is the second most cereal crop after rice, and it is a temperate crop. Wheat is a temperate crop, remember this. And also it is a rabi crop. It is a temperate crop, and also it is a rabi crop. Okay. And the wheat, if you see, it is not labor intensive. It needs cool growing season. It needs bright sunshine at the time of ripening, and it needs light loamy soil. It is the second most important crop. The Ganga Satluj plains in the northwest, the black soil of the Deccan, they are the major wheat producing states, wheat producing areas. And the states, if you see, the Punjab, Haryana, UP, MP, Bihar, Rajasthan, they are the most wheat producing states. The temperature required is 10 to 15 degrees centigrade in winter, and about 21 to 26 degrees centigrade in summer. Rainfall is 50 to 75 centimeters. 85% of total area under the crop is in north and central region only. Okay, 14% of total cropped area in the country is under the wheat cultivation. Yield, if you see, the yield is higher in Punjab and Haryana states, but UP is the largest producer of the wheat. Right? So this is about wheat. Next, the seventh question is about ports. So ports, if you see, the ports are very important for the global merchandise trade. 70% of the world trade by value happens through the shipping routes, so that need ports. The important ports of the world, if you see, Shanghai port is in China, Shanghai in China, Havana in Cuba. So Havana, if you see, that is also a very famous port. A lot of tourists go there. You have the Baltimore port in US, the Keihin port, Japan, Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. So Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, the Santos in Brazil, Fuzhou, China, Qingdao, China. Chinese names we can identify very easily. Chinese and the Japanese names. Right. Next one is the Port Klang in Malaysia, Taiwan in China, the Los Angeles in US, Hamburg in Germany. All of them are these ports. Next, the Colombo port in Sri Lanka, the Hambantota port also in Sri Lanka, Ho Chi Minh city in Vietnam. This is also an important port. And the Hanshin port in Japan, Jawaharlal Nehru port in India, in Mumbai. The next we have see the Vancouver in Canada, the Kasab port in Oman, the Chabahar port in Iran, the port of Bezain in Myanmar, port of Karachi in Pakistan, the Gwadar port also in Pakistan, and so on. So these are the major important ports that we need to remember. So next, 8th is about the nomadic herding or pastoral nomadism. So it is a type of subsistence where the herders rely on the domesticated animals for food and livelihood. The three core regions of the pastoral nomadism, they are the Atlantic shores of North Africa, eastwards across the Arab into Mongolia and central China. The second region is over the tundra region of Eurasia, and the third region is the smallest part of the southern hemisphere in the southwest Africa and Madagascar. So this is the next one. And you have the llamas, which is part of the pastoral nomadism of Andes region. The prairies lie in North America. The reindeers, so they are reared in the Arctic and subarctic regions as part of the pastoral nomadism. So the pastoral nomadism is the nomadism for the grass, for the pasture. That is the thing, for the grass of the animals, in fact. So that is the thing. Next, the 9th question, which is on the white spot syndrome virus. White spot syndrome virus. Recently, the Agarkar Research Institute, which is an autonomous institute of Department of Science and Technology, developed and patented a tool that can detect this white spot syndrome virus. So the white spot disease, if you see, it is a highly contagious viral infection of the crustacean, which cause higher levels of mortality. The causative agent of this WSD, that is the white spot disease, which is large, non-oculed, which is enveloped, which is rod-shaped elliptical DNA virus. One tail-like extension is there. It infects only the crustacean, that is prawns, lobster, crabs, etc., and appear not to be related to any other known virus, and there is no treatment for this. So white spot syndrome is a virus. This virus will infect these crustaceans like prawns, lobster, crabs, etc. Okay, so remember this. Next, 10th question is about the semi-urbanization. So semi-urbanization, if you see, where people move away from the congested urban areas to a cleaner areas outside the city for better quality of living. The megapolis cities, if you see, they signify the super metropolitans. They extend as a union of conurbations. Example, the urban landscape stretching from the Boston in north to south of Washington. They are super metropolitans. This is a large stretch of this area, urban area, that is called as megapolis. Next, the 11th question is about the coal deposits. Coal deposits, if you see, there are various commercially exploitable coal deposits, and few countries have largest coal deposits. They are very famous for that. Countries like China, US, India, Australia, they are very famous. The major coal fields of the world, if you see, in North America, here some coal fields are given: the Pennsylvania, Appalachian, the Illinois, the Western Interior field, all of them. Just go through them. There's nothing much to explain here, because see, just take a map and try to identify them. That is the best way to remember these things, because generally these things won't be asked in the prelims, but sometimes we never know. We will be able to, they will be asking a certain area name, and we should be able to at least know in which continent or in which country that is there. Right? That is about North America. Next is Europe. In Europe, we have the Donetsk coal basin, the Moscow, the Kuznets, the Karaganda field. All of them are in Europe. Next, in Asia and China. In Asia, that means in Asia, especially in China, you have the Shaanxi, Fujian, Inner Mongolia, and also in Japan, in India. So those are things. In Africa, the Transversal and Natal, so they are there. The Middelburg, so this is also in Africa. The Zaire Leona in Africa. The Mozambique, in Mozambique, especially this Maniamba. In Zambia, you have the Mkabe and Mamba. In Nigeria, you have the Enugu, that is in Nigeria. So these are the various coal fields. Next, 12th question, it is on the population pyramid of Japan. Population pyramid. So in general, population pyramid means the pyramid which is showing the birth and death rates. It is also showing the population of different age groups. That is called as population pyramid. So Japan, if you see, it has a narrow base and taper top. That means it has low birth and death rate, but the population, that means especially the old age population, is much higher. That is the thing. Next, age sex pyramid. So age sex pyramid, in simple words, it will be something like this. Yeah, this is how the age sex pyramid looks like. So this pyramid, especially if you see, it will represent different age groups of both male and female. Towards the left hand side, male will be there. Towards the right hand side, female will be there. And the representation of male and female at different age groups. This is the age group and this is the representation. So that will be there. Expanding population means in the age group, in the age sex pyramid of Nigeria, especially we can see this expanding population. So there in the expanding population, it will have a wide base and narrow top. Okay, they have larger population in low age groups, countries like Bangladesh, Mexico, etc. If you see constant population, so Australia age sex pyramid is bell shaped and tapered towards the top. The birth and death rates are almost equal, leading to constant. That means a rectangular kind of thing will be there in the constant population, for example Australia. Whereas in declining population, it will have a narrow base and taper top. The base will be less, it will be narrow, whereas in the top it will be wide like this, a little bit wide like this. So this shows that the people who are the newborns are very less, whereas the old age are more. That is the thing. Next, the 14th question. The 14th question is on the Exim Bank. Exim Bank is the Export-Import Bank of India. This Exim Bank was set up by the Government of India under the Exim Bank of India Act of 1981. It serves as a growth engine for the industries and SMEs through a wide range of products and services. The import of technology and export of product development, the export production, export marketing, all of these things happens. It extends the line of credit to overseas financial institutions, the regional development banks, sovereign governments and other overseas entities as well. That is the Export-Import Bank of India. Next, the 15th question is about the migration, the push and pull factors of migration. So push factor means in a certain region there are certain negative things, and these negative things are pushing the people to other region. That is called as push factors. So negative things ensure that people move to other areas. Next, the pull factors. Pull factors means an area have positive aspects, maybe school, maybe the education, maybe the employment. So all of these things are positive factors, and because of these positive factors, people move from rural to urban or from one area to other. Okay, generally the rural to urban migration is for these important things only. So these are the push factors. The better living conditions, the pleasant climate, all of these things come under the push factor only. Sorry, the pull factor, not push factor, the pull factor. Because these are the ones that is pulling people from one area to other. Right? So this is about the push and pull factors. Next, the 16th question is about the non-ferrous metallic minerals. So India has a meager deposit of non-ferrous metallic minerals except bauxite. Bauxite, if you see, India is self-sufficient. Bauxite, in brief, it has nothing but the ore of aluminium. It is found in tertiary deposits and associated with the laterite rock on the plateau or hill regions of peninsular India. Odisha is the largest producer of bauxite. Remember this, Odisha is the largest producer, and if you see the bauxite reserves of the world, Australia is the major producer. In India, Odisha is the largest producer. In the world, Australia is the largest producer, followed by China, Guinea, Brazil and India. This is about bauxite. Next, the 17th question. The 17th question is on Indian Railways. It is on Indian Railways. The Konkan Railways, if you see, they are 760 km long rail route connecting the Roha in Maharashtra, the Mangalore in Karnataka, and this connects states of Maharashtra, Goa and Karnataka. The Konkan Railways is a very famous one. So there is this person, you might have heard about his name, E. Sridharan. He is also called as Metro Man of India. This famous person, E. Sridharan, he is responsible for the construction of this Konkan railways, because this Konkan railways goes through these Western Ghats and it is a very complicated task. Okay, so that is the thing. Next, Indian Railways is one of the world's largest rail network with 67,956 kilometer of the route length, and out of the 67,000 kilometers, about 63,000 kilometers is broad gauge, that is about 94%. Only 3.5% is a meter gauge, and about 1,000 kilometers is the narrow gauge. Right. Next, different types of ports. The 18th question talks about it. The first is port of call. So port of call means generally when the ships are traveling long distances, they need refueling, they need food, etc. So for all these supplies and all, they will visit few ports. Those are called as port of call. For example, the Aden, Honolulu and Singapore. So for refueling water and all, the ships will come there. Next, the packet station or ferry port. So these are exclusively concerned with the transportation of passenger and mails. So mostly passengers, these ports will be dealing with passengers. For example, Dover in England, the Calais in France across English Channel. Next, the naval ports, as the name suggests, so they have only the strategic importance. They are not used for commercial purposes. Example, Kochi and Karwar. Next, the entree port. Entree port means, so this is the port where huge ships come and dock, and from these huge ships the cargo is then sent to other small ports. That is called as entree port, because small ports cannot handle huge ships. Okay, so these huge ports are built at few places. There these huge ships will come, and these huge ships, what they will do is they will send, or you can say what they will do is they will unload these packages or anything, especially this cargo, onto these smaller ships, and these smaller ships will take this cargo to smaller ports. That is called as entree port. Next question is on the Lingaraja Temple Ordinance of 2020. This Lingaraja Temple Ordinance was opposed by the centre. This was introduced by Odisha government to manage rituals and other activities of the temple, of the Lingaraja temple and other 8 associated temples. Why the centre opposes it is, the Ministry of Home Affairs says that this ordinance by the Odisha government will violate the Ancient Monument and Archaeological Site and Remains Act of 1958. That's why they are opposing this. If you see the Lingaraja temple is dedicated to Lord Shiva, and it is one of the oldest temple of Bhubaneswar, constructed by King Jajati Keshari in the 10th century. It is built on the red stone, and the classic example, it is a classic example of Lingaraja style of architecture. It comes under the Nagara style, Okay, so this is about Lingaraja temple of Odisha. Next, the 20th question is on the land use changes in the country. So land use changes in the country. So if you see, the rate of land usage has increased. Especially in the areas of especially the pasture area. Sorry, not pasture. The wastelands and also the agricultural land is also taken for non-agricultural purposes. So the rate of land usage has increased, and all of these things, like the industrial activity, like the port construction, road construction, they are all of these things are taking place. But here we are losing agricultural land and wasteland for this. The area under forest is also increasing. So we have seen that even in the State of Forest Survey report, right? And if you see, there is also increase in the current fallow, and this cannot be explained from the information pertaining to the above 2 points. And also there are four categories to register the decline. They are barren and wasteland, the culturable wasteland, the pasture and tree crop, and fallow land. They have seen the decrease in the land. Next, the following explanations are given for the declining trends. So as the pressure on the land increases from agricultural and non-agricultural sectors, wasteland and cultivable wasteland suffered over time. Their usage has decreased. The decrease in land under pasture and grazing lands is due to the pressure from agricultural land. There is illegal encroachment due to expansion of the cultivation, and common pastures is responsible for this decline. So this is some data. There is some data with regarding the changes in the land usage. As we all know, with the increase in industrial activity, the land usage will be increasing. But the thing is that at what expense? So as of now, we are seeing the wasteland and agricultural land are being used for other activities. So this is the thing. Next, 21st question is on the agricultural land. So the quality of land the quality of land direct being direct has direct bearing on the productivity of the agriculture. So agricultural productivity will always need very good quality of land, good quality of soil and water as well, as the scope for bringing additional land under the net zone area is limited. Thus there is an urgent need to evolve and adapt land saving technology, because once we transfer the agricultural land to non-agricultural activities, then again it is very difficult to bring back this non-agricultural land into the ambit of agriculture. That is very difficult. So we have to be very careful whenever we are transferring this agricultural land for other purposes, because at the end of the day, if you see, India has a limited land, and this limited land has to be able to it should be able to sustain, or it should be able to provide food for all the people of the country. So for that it is needed. So we should use it very wisely, very wisely. So cropping intensity, if you see, it is the ratio of gross area sown. It is the ratio of gross area sown to the net area sown. 51% of Indian land is under the cultivation as compared to 11% of the world average. The present cropping intensity is 136%, and it saw an increase of 25% since independence. That is the thing. So already we are producing well, but the thing is that we need to conserve it and preserve it properly. Next, 22nd question is on the intensive sustenance agriculture. Intensive sustenance agriculture, if you see, it is found in densely populated regions of monsoon Asia. The practice can be seen in highly populated regions of the world, and this will have high pressure on the land as well. It is the right of inheritance that made land holding size uneconomical. The labor intensive farming where high doses of biomechanical inputs and irrigation are used. There are two types, dominated by the paddy cultivation and dominated by other crops. So paddy cultivation means it is dominated by rice, whereas other crops, if you see, other crops in India especially, you have soybean, you have wheat, so all these things are grown. The millets, especially in the central part and the other dry parts, all these things can be seen in India. So next question is on the weight losing raw materials. So there are various raw materials which will lose weight over time, and the materials that weigh less after getting manufactured. So for example, copper taken from its raw material, copper ore, it will lose its weight eventually. The ore will lose its weight because this copper ore contains a lot of impurities and all that is not required. And the industries using weight losing raw materials are located near the source of raw materials. For example, the sugar, because sugar cane, when you transport it over long distances, the water in the sugar cane will reduce. When the water reduces, the weight reduces. So sugar mills are always near these sugar producing areas. And also the pulp industry, copper smelting, the pig iron industry, all of them are located near these raw materials only. The cotton textile industry uses non-weight losing raw material, and it is located in large urban centers like Mumbai, Surat, etc. Even the petroleum refineries, they are near markets, especially they are near markets, because the petrol, the crude oil, especially if you see, that can be transported easily, but the refined oil has to be there near to the consumers only, the refined petroleum especially. Example, the Koili, Mathura, the Barauni refineries. Next, 24th question is on the demographic transition theory. So what this theory in turn says is that initially for a country there will be high birth and death rates, that is called as stage 1. So all the demographic transition takes place in these 3 stages. In the stage 1, the fertility rate as well as the death rate, both of them will be high. So here you can say this is the underdeveloped stage. Because the understanding this demographic transition is very important for all the countries. This will help them in planning. This will help them in managing the resources well. This will help them in the planning of employment. This will help them in planning of food. For everything, this is very important. So in the underdeveloped stage, especially in the first stage, we can say there will be high birth and death rates. When you go to the second stage, the birth rate will remain high, but the death rate will start to decline because countries start to develop. When the country starts to develop, the medical facilities will increase. When the medical facilities increases, then the death rate will decline. That is the second thing. And at the third stage, both the birth rate and death rate, both of them will decrease. Generally, this kind of thing we will observe in the hugely developed economies. For example, Japan, Australia and all these countries. So this is the demographic transition theory. Next, 25th question is on the rice fortification. Rice fortification. So if you see, the supply of fortified rice via targeted PDS will be done under the National Food Security Act, the Integrated Child Development Services, the PM Poshan and other welfare schemes. Now what is this rice fortification? So fortification in simple words is nothing but the addition of these micronutrients to the rice. Adding of these micronutrients to the rice, because general rice does not contain all the nutrients that are required for humans. So rice fortification is adding of these additional nutrients. The various nutrients like iron, vitamin B12, folic acid, they will be added. Okay. So this program takes place in 3 stages, 3 phases. Phase 1 cover Integrated Child Development Scheme and PM Poshan all over India by March 2022. The phase 2 is phase 1 plus the targeted public distribution system and the other schemes as well. And the phase 3 is phase 2 plus covering remaining all the districts. So phase 2 is for limited district, whereas phase 3 is for all districts. So that is the thing. The benefit is there will be nutritional boost to the undernourished population. It helps in combating anemia. It is cost effective and it is helpful in growth of baby. So this is the thing about the rice fortification. So that's it guys for the day. These are the questions for the discussion. So, and also these are our initiatives. We provide these summaries for Vision Prelims test series, Mains test series and monthly magazine. And also we are providing all of these videos at free of cost in YouTube. You can watch them and you also have to share them with your friends, because only with your support we will be able to provide more such good initiatives for your benefit, right? So if you have any query, do leave in the comment box. Do join our Telegram channel. The details will be there in the description. So that's it from our side guys. I'll see you again tomorrow with the next set of questions. Till then, keep studying and stay tuned. Jai Hind.